Today's headline is The Fancy. The subheadline says, Superstitious Reports. It says, General A.L.S. of Kentucky, perhaps one of the best card players in that state, would never play a hand or risk $1 if there was a black cat in the room. Ex-Governor B from one of the western states, an inveterate gamester, would never sit down to a table in a room where there was a looking glass. Some gamblers refuse to play if on entering the room, the left foot crossed the threshold first, and no persuasion can induce them to do so until they leave and return with right foot foremost. To put your foot on the chair of a player is a sure premonition of bad luck. Some men will never play on Friday. In 1859, I was a passenger on the steamer Star Spangled Banner from New Orleans to Louisville. She was crowded with people, and an hour after leaving New Orleans, found 20 card tables drawn out, and 3 or 4 score of passengers deeply absorbed in the mysteries of old sledge, euchre, and poker. All that night and the next day, the game went on. As fortune, however, soon singled out and made victims of the poor and less skilled players, so the number gradually decreased until the 4th day out, when only 1 table was running. Old Bob Brasher, a black merchant, young Ben Sanford, a horse trader, and 2 planters from Lafourche still kept on. Although they had played almost incessantly for 4 days and nights, yet luck had favored neither party, and they were in a few dollars of even. The bucking had been principally between Brasher and Sanford, but heretofore they had kept themselves within the gentleman's limit, $500. After leaving Memphis, the game was renewed, and the bystanders observed that big play was on the tap by, as young Sanford was considerably under the influence of liquor, and when in that condition, he was known to be a heavy player. Late at night, the 2 traders came together. Both had backing hands, and Louisiana and Kentucky banknotes soon almost covered the table. The margin of 500 had been forgotten, and 1, 2, 3, 500 better rapidly passed between them. At last, Brasher leaned back from the table, unbottomed his vest, and took from around his body a belt filled with gold pieces. Laying it down upon the banknotes, he exclaimed, $3,000 better. Sanford became speechless. His face turned deadly pale. He called for a glass of liquor, which he drank, never once taking his eyes from the belt of gold. He had exhausted his means in the former bets. All his money lay upon the table. At last the thought struck him. Ben, come here, sir, he exclaimed. Yes, master, and Sanford's body servant, a fine athletic pureblood, came to his side. Get upon the table, sir. Not daring to disobey, as he knew well in that moment of frenzy his young master would send a bullet through his brain did he refuse. The slave tremblingly stepped on the table, crushing the banknotes and gold beneath his feet. Call you, sir, shrieked Sanford at the same time, laying down 4 queens and an ace. An invincible, sir, said Basher with a sneer. 4 kings and an ace. And as Basher reached for his belt of gold, young Sanford fell to the floor, the blood gushing from his mouth, nose, and ears. With one spring, the slave started from the table, dashed through the thin folding doors of the social hall, out on the boiler deck, and with a half-uttered prayer for his wife, he threw himself into the dark waters of the Mississippi, and was soon no more. Death prevented Basher from claiming his spoil. Sanford for weeks lingered on a sickbed, but at last recovered, and forever renounced the gaming table. He made good, however, the money that he owed to the winner. This story came from the great state of Missouri, being reported in the Weekly Argus of August 5th, 1869. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.